Elenor and Thráin adjusted their travel packs, their eyes meeting with mutual determination. "Next stop, the Fortress of Doom," Thráin said with a wry grin. Elenor nodded, her eyes gleaming with resolve. "United, we'll uncover the dark plans and protect our homes," she replied. They shared a brief yet hearty laugh, finding solace in their shared mission, before setting off through the dense, ancient woods. As they ventured deeper, the forest grew quieter and a chill seeped into the air. Thráin tightened his grip on his staff, eyes scanning for danger. Elenor paused, sensing a presence. A shadow flickered ahead, and she gestured for silence. "We're being watched," she whispered. Thráin nodded, muscles tensed. Together they pressed on, every step a mix of caution and unwavering courage. With every step, the forest's oppressive silence deepened. They edged closer, Thráin leading with caution. Elenor tightened her grip on her staff, her eyes scanning the underbrush for any flicker of movement. Suddenly, a low growl echoed through the trees. Thráin raised a hand, signaling a halt. "Steady," he murmured. Elenor arched a brow, then nodded. Their resolve unbroken, they pressed on, shadows closing in around them. The forest's suffocating silence remained unbroken as Elenor and Thráin ventured deeper. Thráin's grip tightened on his staff as a shadow darted through the gloom. "Did you see that?" Elenor whispered, eyes wide with alarm. A guttural growl answered, closer than before. Thráin raised his hand, signaling another halt. "Stay close," he murmured. They pressed on, the oppressive darkness closing in, each step a test of nerve and resolve. Eleanor's heart pounded as the shadows seemed to move closer with each passing step. Thráin, sensing her unease, whispered, "We'll get through this together." Suddenly, a piercing screech shattered the silence, followed by rustling all around them. "Hold your ground," Thráin commanded, raising his staff defensively. Elenor ignited a small light spell, pushing back the darkness. "We're not alone," she murmured, determination hardening her voice. They braced themselves for whatever lurked ahead. Eleanor's light revealed a pair of gleaming eyes. Thráin swung his staff, an orc lunged. Steel clashed. "Stay behind me," Thráin shouted. Elenor, incanting a spell, felt her power surge. "Not today, foul creature," she cried, releasing a blinding flash. The orcs scattered. Reclaiming their breath, Elenor and Thráin exchanged a determined glance. "This is just the beginning," she said. Thráin nodded. "We'll make it through, for Eregion." Suddenly, the forest gave way to a clearing bathed in moonlight. At its center, the ancient fortress loomed. "We've made it," whispered Elenor, her voice a mix of awe and dread. Thráin raised his staff, the tip glowing faintly. "Stay sharp," he said, checking the shadows. They exchanged resolute nods, stepping forward together. The air buzzed with unseen forces, each step closer to the heart of darkness and the secrets they sought to unveil. Elenor and Thráin exchanged a knowing glance before tiptoeing towards the fortress entrance. The moonlight cast eerie shadows that seemed to dance around them, making every step a leap of faith. Suddenly, Thráin pointed to glyphs carved into the stone wall. "These markings," he murmured, "we can use them to our advantage." Elenor nodded, her eyes shining with newfound hope. "Let's uncover its secrets," she whispered. Inside the fortress, the walls hummed with ancient power. Thráin's eyes followed the glowing glyphs, while Eleanor's fingers traced the intricate patterns. "These glyphs, they feel alive," she whispered, marveling. Just then, a hidden door creaked open, revealing a cavernous hall filled with relics. "The heart of its secrets," Thráin murmured. They exchanged a hopeful glance, stepping forward into the unknown, ready to unearth the fortress's ancient mysteries. As they ventured further into the cavernous hall, an ancient relic caught Eleanor's eye. "Look, Thráin," she whispered, pointing to an intricately carved stone tablet. "These symbols, they might be a map." Thráin's eyes widened, examining the artifact. "Then let's find out where it leads," he said, a spark of excitement in his voice. The journey, it seemed, had just begun, full of secrets yet to uncover. Elenor and Thráin lifted the stone tablet cautiously, eyes wide with anticipation. The symbols shimmered, rearranging themselves into a map. "A hidden chamber," Elenor whispered, her voice trembling with excitement. Thráin grinned, his eyes gleaming. "Ready for another adventure?" he asked. Elenor nodded, determination hardening her gaze. Together they stepped deeper into the fortress, their hearts pounding with the thrill of the unknown ahead. Elenor and Thráin ventured further, their breath visible in the chill air. "This must be it," Eleanor whispered as a massive door loomed ahead. Thráin, his grip tightening on his staff, nodded. With a deep breath, they pushed the door open, revealing an ancient chamber filled with shimmering light. "Ready?" Thráin asked, eyes twinkling. Eleanor smiled. "Always." Together, they stepped into the unknown, hearts pounding with anticipation. With a collective breath, they stepped into the radiant chamber, its light casting kaleidoscopic reflections. Eleanor's excitement mirrored Thráin's steady determination. "Look," she whispered, pointing to a pedestal bearing an ancient, rune-covered tome. Thráin nodded, his eyes gleaming. This must be the key. As they approached, the tome pulsed with a gentle warmth, as if welcoming them. United by purpose and wonder, they prepared to unlock the fortress's most guarded secrets. With a deep breath, Thráin reached for the tome, his fingers making contact with its cool, ancient surface. Eleanor's heart raced as the runes began to shimmer and dance, casting vibrant colors across their faces. "Are you ready?" Thráin asked, his voice a blend of excitement and trepidation. Eleanor smiled, her eyes gleaming with shared determination. "Always," she replied. Together they opened the tome, stepping into a cascade of magical light. Eleanor and Thráin's surroundings shimmered as the magical light engulfed them. Suddenly, the room's walls transformed, revealing a hidden passageway. "A new path," Eleanor whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. Thráin nodded, gripping his staff tightly. "Let's see where this leads," he said. Together, they stepped forward, hearts pounding with anticipation, the ancient tome's magic guiding their every step. They were ready for whatever lay ahead. As Eleanor and Thráin stepped into the hidden passageway, the walls illuminated with a soft glow, revealing a staircase spiraling downward. "This feels right," Eleanor whispered. Thráin nodded, eyes twinkling. "Adventure calls," he replied. Hand in hand they descended, each step echoing with the promise of unknown secrets and new alliances. As they descended the staircase, a soft melody like ancient songs of old filled the air. Eleanor paused, looking at Thráin with a mix of curiosity and determination. "These melodies, they must be guiding us," she whispered. Thráin nodded, his grip on his staff tightening. "Let's follow the music," he said, his voice steady. Together they continued downward, their steps echoing the harmonious notes that beckoned them deeper into the fortress. Eleanor and Thráin moved deeper into the passageway, the melody's crescendo enveloping them. As they turned a corner, the source revealed itself, a grand chamber, resonating with harmony. In the chamber's center stood an ancient altar, glowing faintly. "This is it," Eleanor breathed. Thráin smiled, eyes twinkling. "The heart of the fortress's power," he murmured. Together they approached, feeling destiny's pull stronger than ever. Eleanor and Thráin approached the glowing altar with hearts racing. "This feels significant," Eleanor murmured. Thráin nodded, eyes locked on an engraved crystal atop the altar. As their hands touched the stone, the melody crescendoed, surrounding them in a cascade of light. "What have we just unlocked?" Thráin whispered. Eleanor smiled, eyes gleaming with wonder. "A path to greater knowledge and the power to face Sauron," she replied, determination hardening her voice. With a deep breath, Eleanor and Thráin stepped into an adjoining room, where the light from the engraved crystal guided them. A magical map materialized on the wall, showing routes teeming with secrets and dangers. "Our next adventure awaits," Eleanor whispered. Thráin's eyes gleamed with excitement. "For Eregion and Khazad-dûm," he said, raising his staff. United in purpose, they embarked on the pathway, ready to face whatever lay ahead. Steadfast and determined, Eleanor and Thráin treaded with cautious reverence through the chamber, eyes taking in every glowing rune. "This place breathes ancient magic," Eleanor whispered. Thráin's grip on his staff tightened. "Then let us honor its secrets, for they may hold the key to our victory." With reverence, Eleanor and Thráin touched the map, causing runes to glow brighter and paths to shimmer into view. "The answers lie ahead," Eleanor murmured. Thráin nodded. "For our realms and the free peoples, we shall prevail." Together, they ventured into the unknown, hearts bound by unwavering resolve.